SITA UK is one of the leading waste management and resource management companies in the UK. We've been working in London now for 20 years. I remember a long time ago starting the contract of Enfield in terms of street cleansing. We do all sorts of different services. They span a whole range of services, from cleaning up after the Notting Hill Carnival, street cleansing, domestic collections, commercial and industrial collections, and all the different forms of treatment and recycling that are associated with that. We're working on a daily basis in all the different London boroughs.
London faces a whole host of challenges which makes it different to many cities around the UK and indeed many cities around the world. Half of London's waste is still landfill. That's a very high proportion of waste still to be going to landfill. London is difficult in a recycling environment as well. Half of London's housing is multi-occupancy, and recycling rates traditionally from multi-occupancy dwellings are low, sometimes as low as 10%. So we need to find solutions, working with the Mayor, who's delivered a very bold strategy for London's waste management, to get recycling rates up to the level of the best of the rest of the country.
Our vision is that we want to live in a society where there is no more waste. And that really drives our organisation to search innovative, flexible solutions with our partners.
For SITA and the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, this is an innovative contract. It's what we call an open book account. It means that both parties to the contract, SITA and the Royal Borough, regularly sit down, they assess how the contract is performing, and it means that we can get a really high standard of output for our residents.
One of the things that distinguishes SITA, I think, is the amount of work we do up front, the amount of preparation and research we do before an authority comes to the market with a tender. Because that enables us to understand where the client's coming from and to better shape a solution that suits them.
SITA has reviewed all of its assets within London, and we've got specific development plans for each of those. An example of that is the Hayes development that we're at here today, which sits in the borough of Hillingdon. And this is now redeveloped into a non-ferrous recycling facility, which will handle up to 6,000 tonnes worth of the capital's non-ferrous metals. And in addition to that, has capacity to handle 30,000 tonnes worth of mixed dry recyclables and mixed waste material. We've got an planning application in to redevelop a 9-acre site in the South London area into an eco-park, and that will comprise of a large anaerobic digestion facility which will handle the food waste for the capital, an IVC process for the back end of that which will create a compost, and an extension to the current MRF there, material recycling facility, which will help us handle more of the recyclable material for the capital.
We need to really give waste a second life and attempt to pull out as much value as we can from what is thrown today away as waste by the public of the capital to something that will be a real sustainable resource in the future. Well, we've been generating renewable energy for some considerable times, even through our landfill sites and from other energy from waste plants that we have around the country. 3.2% of the UK's renewable energy source comes from SITA UK, so we're particularly proud of that. Sometimes a forgotten statistics we often feel. We also have been looking for perhaps some interesting new technologies to introduce what we would term as perhaps a more community-scaled option, which I think will be particularly interesting for the communities of London. London has got some issues in terms of putting large-scale plants, large-scale forms of solutions on the ground. So a community-scaled sized plant that can also give some local solution for waste, but also perhaps the utilisation of energy on a local area, I think is particularly interesting, both for communities in London and certainly in line with the Mayor's strategy.
This is a partnership pilot that the Royal Borough and SITA are running again in partnership to make sure that the dust carts that patrol the streets of the borough can be powered in the most environmentally friendly way. So this dust cart behind me is actually being powered by landfill gas from one of SITA's landfill sites down in Surrey, It means that when the dust carts are going up and down the streets of a crowded borough like this, they're actually able to cut back on their diesel consumption and switch over to usage of this special gas. And it means that the environmental impact of the dust cart is absolutely being minimised. So it's an innovative and exciting new pilot project.
To help the business sector in London recycle more, we've just launched a food waste collection service. We collect the food from our customers' premises separately from the other waste streams. And to help our customers do that, we provide them with separate bags and bins and caddies to ensure that there is no contamination of the food. We can then use that food waste to create renewable energy, which is a desperate need for London.
Partnership is extremely important to us. Being part of a worldwide group, we have a number of advantages that we can bring our customers. I think the first advantage for me is obviously knowledge and experience. We can pull from resources and information around the world, and we can relate that back and translate that back to a UK context. So that gives us a lot of strength in terms of delivering flexible solutions. I think the other point associated with being part of a big group is obviously stability. We've been around a long time, we will be around for a long time. We're working across the UK delivering services on a daily basis, from down in the southwest and Cornwall, up through Yorkshire and Kirklees in the Huddersfield area, all the way up to Northumberland and Scotland.
We work with local communities around our facilities in a variety of ways, and it's very important that we do so. We like to have our local communities consider us to be a good neighbour, and for that to happen we need to be a good neighbour. We involve them in our operations, we invite them to our facilities, we invite representative groups to come and see what we do in practice, what is actually happening to the waste that the local community produces, where does it go and how is it treated. We work with local communities whenever we intend to plan or build a new piece of infrastructure in that community. It's important that people have a view on what we should and shouldn't be doing, and we welcome that at every occasion. We like to work with schools to explain to them what happens to the 3 R's in practice, how we reduce waste, how we reuse waste and how we recycle waste. What does that really mean?
The great aspect of this contract is that SITA has a 340 strong team of people working in 3 shifts, 7 days a week, 364 days of the year. And that actually reflects the very high standards of output that both we and our residents want and that SITA's been able to provide.
At SITA UK, it's all about deliverability, that is, working with our partners to find the right solution and then delivering.